So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I wanted to talk about how to sell yourself, even if you don't think that you're all that. And as usual, I am Earthling, yada, yada, yada. I have a couple of degrees. I got a scholarship a while ago to help with those degrees. I've traveled a lot more than I thought that I would have at this age. I have run a newspaper that I did everything for. I've done karate, a little bit of gymnastics. I can swim, ballroom dance, stuff like that. Anyway, that's it for me. So, how to sell yourself? I think a lot of people don't realize how special they are and how ordinary they are a lot of times. There are a lot of people who will have this impression, especially, let's say, if you're looking for a job. You only look at the straight job-oriented things that you might have done in your life, or you might not be giving people what they want. So here's just some examples. I had a roommate, and we were applying for a fast food job at a fast food place. And, on my resume, I put all of this stuff that I had done before that was not at all fast food related or food related in any way. My roommate, he just put one thing fast food related. I didn't get the job. He got the job. Imagine not getting a fast food job. That's just crazy, because I wasn't putting what was important to these people. So that's why for them, they don't care if I worked as somebody in a furniture store, for example. No, they care about fast food related stuff. And yeah, in another instance, there's a friend of mine, and she didn't really have a lot of lengthy positions. So she might have worked 2 or 3 months here, 6 months here, whatever. And she felt like, okay, this really doesn't look too good on my resume that I've been moved around so much. So I said, here's what. Is there anything that you've done for a really long time? And she said, well, yeah, I've done ballet for about 9 years, ever since I was a kid until a certain amount of time. And I'm like, put that, because that shows that you've had consistency. I mean, more consistency than many other people have had in their life outside of school. Completely, 100%. Also, she had a job that was not an everyday job, but it spanned, again, a number of years, and it involved having a certain amount of professionalism and dependability. So, yeah, on the one side, if you look at it, you would see that anybody who wanted just a standard resume of stuff in both of those examples, anybody who that's what they put down on the paper. And with respect to my friend, I think it really helped her resume. Maybe it was not directly related to many of the jobs that she might have applied for, but between that and mass emailing different offices, she was usually able to get a job fairly quickly and job interviews fairly quickly after she moved jobs, as every time she had to transition, let's say. So there are different ways, as people say, you have to think outside the box, but I didn't want to start out talking like that, because everybody's heard that, but I don't think it's really sunk in as to what exactly that means. People aren't often given a lot of examples like that. And, when you're in an interview, for example, one of the questions that I have heard, we've all heard, and that we figured that we should ask, I've interviewed people maybe once or twice, a lot of people, And that's the question that you ask. And, you're not really sure why you're asking it, other than the fact that other people have asked you. But as a result of asking myself or thinking about what response I should give, I realized, wait a minute, that's the answer to that question in many instances is the same thing. It means like, what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? I guess I didn't say that out, say it out loud. But yeah, your greatest strength and your greatest weakness are usually the same thing. I think I remember this movie with Braveheart with Mel Gibson, and no, it wasn't Braveheart. It was the other movie, I think, with respect to him, fighting off the British or something like that, right? And in it, he has to go up against this general. It's like the last battle of the movie. And he has to go up against this general who is brilliant, a brilliant general. And the idea is that what can they possibly do to beat this guy? This guy knows all of the tricks. He's done many of the tricks. He's probably come up with some new ones on his own. How do they beat this guy? And the idea is they use his strength. His strength is that he's brilliant, a brilliant tactician, and he knows he's a brilliant tactician. But that's his weakness, because he knows he's a brilliant tactician and that he is one. So if you're up against a militia, a bunch of people who are not a standard army, you're never really going to think that they can trick you. You're going to take what you see kind of at face value. And the whole idea is that they attacked, they were seemingly repelled, and they ran away. And he pursued them into an ambush because he never thought. The idea is that he did not think that they would be smart enough to come up with an ambush. And I guess that's pretty simple, but you can see that across the board. I mean, I had a girlfriend, and she was very effervescent, very outgoing, very thrilling to be around, let's say, exciting to be around. And that was the problem as well. It's really great when someone is a bright light and they're shining at you. But then when they're not shining at you, then that's not as nice. And, when she had her attention on someone else or something else, that really was not as nice. And it might make it seem like if, I'm starved for attention or something, but what I mean is that, no, she could totally kind of cut you off emotionally at times, because she was just focused on something else. So, yeah, that's one of the things that you can answer. So whatever your weakness is, in a way, that is your strength as well. Because one thing is that that it's your weakness. That it's something that you have to work on. And also there are different ways to leverage those properties, those weak points per se, to your advantage if you choose to. If you're small and frail, that means that you can go into spaces where other people can't. It means that people don't think of you as a threat. It means that now you have to rely on your intelligence rather than your brawn. So that's an opportunity. And there's a lot of ways that in life we see that things are framed. And some of the ways that these things are framed is that sometimes people will tell you something that is insulting, but that's just the insulting version of whatever they're describing about you. If somebody is stubborn, that's not a positive thing. But if you're tenacious, that is a very positive thing. But it's the same attribute. It's exactly the same thing where somebody wants to frame it in a bad way. They'll say you're stubborn. They'll say that you're, I can't think of another bad word for it. But if it's a positive thing and they like you, no, now you're tenacious. If it is that you are not particularly focused on one thing, somebody can say that, you know a bit about every single thing. You have a wide breadth of knowledge because you're not focused necessarily on one given thing, which again, somebody might say that that's flighty. But in the other way, you can be described as someone with a wide breadth of interests. If you like clothing and you spend a lot of time on that, someone can say, well, you have an eye for fashion. On the plus side of that, somebody might say that, on the negative side, someone might say that you're superficial. On the negative side, someone might say that you're a spendthrift. You don't know how to save any money for the future. On the positive side, you know how to enjoy life. That's another way of saying it. That you don't you don't bother yourself with the little things in life. So there's a lot of different ways of realizing or displaying different aspects of your personality, of who you are, in a positive way. And it really does. It's not even like you are trying to hide something or disguise stuff from other people, because it's true. Some people will love you for the one quality and they will use the positive words for it, and some people will hate you for that quality or that habit and they will choose the negative words for it. And there's no way of knowing beforehand whether somebody will love you or hate you. Some people go through however many different jobs before they find one where they fit in. And if you look at all of their past failures, you would think, well, yeah, they're that kind of person. They're never really gonna find a place where they can stay permanently for a long period of time. And yeah, there's an aspect of it if that's what someone keeps doing and they don't have a means of, perhaps it's possible, but at the same time it could just be that they just haven't found the place that is the right place for them, even after 5 different jobs, 10, 20, whatever. I mean, you can, and I hate to point to celebrities, but there are a lot of different celebrities who will tell you that when they were, trying to get by in the past, they had so many different jobs. But then when you are introduced to this particular person, you know that they have been an actor or an actress or this or that for however many years. So there really isn't any way of predicting with any certainty whether or not someone actually will find a place that they can call home or their job or whatever. And I think a lot of people, because they are used to their lives, they feel that it's boring. Well, it is boring, I guess, to you, because you know it so well, but it isn't boring to other people. I know a lot of people who, yeah, this is so boring. And when I actually listen to stuff about their lives, when they actually tell me about their lives, I'm like, that's unusual. I mean, even if you're working at a factory, what kind of factory? What is it that you have to do? What are the machines like? For me, that's interesting. I know for other people, maybe it might not be. But I recall one guy who didn't really like me per se. And, he was giving me a ride somewhere. And he was just answering questions. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I just found out that he and I kind of watched the same shows regularly. These 2 shows. The one that I liked, he didn't like so much. The one that he liked, I didn't really like so much. But we still watched both of them anyway. And his point of view, when he was telling people about it, was that Earthling will dig and dig and dig until he finds the one thing that you have in common. And I laughed a lot because, there are many qualities that you have that you think are useless and worthless, and it's not true. If you talk to other people, you'll find out that there are some aspects of you that are really unusual and can help to show that you are a quality person that other people will benefit from being around. And on the flip side, of course, if you have bad habits, if you have bad mental programming that you need to get rid of, you should probably do that. And I think maybe I'll talk about that in another video again, as I have in the past. So have a good one. Peace.